My name is Jane Richards, and I am married to a wonderful man that I love dearly. His name is Rick Richards, and we've been married for about 31 years. And I have 2 stepchildren and 7 grandchildren. About 8 years ago, we moved to Roseville, and we are so grateful and thankful that God led us to Destiny. We love the preaching, we love the fellowship. But the thing that I think I am most grateful is that this is the place where they gave me opportunity to work with women that is hurting and broken and struggling. I was born in South Korea in 1949. In 1950, Korean War broke out. And by the time the war was over, Korea was in devastation. I grew up in a family that were farmers, and so whatever we grew, that's what we ate. I had many challenges in my life, but one of the challenges that I was faced with is I was born to a single mom who had no education. Only choice that she had was allow my grandparents to raise me, and while she went to the city to look for a job. While she was in the city, that's when she met my stepfather, who was an American serviceman, and they started a family. And when the tour of duty was over for him, he came back to the United States, and I was raised by my grandparents. You know, in Korean culture, like a lot of other Asian culture, you were raised by your parents. I was always looked upon as someone that was less than. I was not fully accepted in my small village that I grew up in. I had a lot of people make fun of me because you have to remember back then, they rarely married outside of their village, let alone someone from another country and another race. That was absolute taboo. I experienced a lot of rejection, feeling of abandonment, and always having a question of, do I belong anywhere? When I became 12 years old, my mother decided it was time for me to come to the United States to live with her family. I remember thinking about what it would be like coming to America, and in a lot of ways, it was almost like a going to heaven. You know, I guess I had a lot of expectations of how wonderful things are going to be. I'm finally united with my mom, and I thought from this point on that things are going to just be wonderful for me. But that just wasn't the case. I guess you can say I did not make the transition very well. My stepfather let me know from the very beginning with no uncertainty that I was not his, and I was never going to be accepted by him. So I had a lot of rejection from my stepfather. This was time where I felt very, very lonely. And I remember for the first couple of years, only thing I could do was cry myself to sleep. And the feeling of loneliness went so deep that it felt like my very bones were hurting. And that's very profound loneliness. And of course, the 1960s happened, and the hippie movement went throughout the country, and it finally hit Washington State. What they preached was love and peace. And that resonated with me so much because those are 2 things I was desperately in need of. But the problem is the more drugs I took and more deeply I got into that lifestyle, I felt more pain and more brokenness. And so at the age of 19, I finally concluded that life was not worth living. I thought, if only thing that I have to look forward to in life is more pain and more disappointment and more rejection, I thought, what's the use living? During this time, 2 of my best friends came to visit me, and they were so excited. And the moment that I opened the door and saw their face, I know something had changed. And they told me, Jane, we found what we've been looking for, and that is Jesus. And I thought to myself, you know what? I have tried just about everything else. Just maybe this is it. So they invited me to Friday night service. That was the first time I heard the gospel, the good news. I heard that Jesus loved me and he could give me a second chance in life. And if anybody needed a second chance in life, it was me. I remember running down the altar, and I remember as soon as my knees hit the altar, it's like the years of pain and rejection and loneliness and feeling like I did not belong. I felt it go out of me, but I knew I had been changed by God. That has been almost 50 years ago. That has been just the beginning of all the wonderful things that God has done in my life. And I think because of all the pain and difficulties I have experienced in my life, I have love and a passion for women who are hurting and struggling in life, because I know what God has done in my life, He'll do for anyone. I am so grateful to Destiny for allowing me an opportunity to be involved in the Keys to Freedom class. This class is based on a curriculum that Mercy Girls go through. We have seen changed lives. We have seen people healed and set free. And I am very, very grateful that I can be part of that. The life verse that I stand on and that's been fulfilled in my life is John 10:10. It says, the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And that's exactly what he tried to do to me, tried to cause me to end my life. But Jesus said, I have come that you may have life and have it to the full. And I do have that abundant life that Jesus died to give me. And I know that I have a love and peace. And I know that anyone who's willing to accept Jesus can have the same.